The press and the Down Beach Current were notified of this meeting. A copy of same was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building and on the municipal website. Meeting will come to order. Would you please stand for the flag salute? Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Becker?
Here.
Ms. Harvey? Here. Mr. Bloomberg?
Here. We have before us the minutes of our August 7th meetings. What is your pleasure?
I'll make a motion we approve those minutes.
Second?
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey? Yes. Mr. Bloomberg?
Yes.
We will open to public comment, 3 minutes on any subject you'd like to comment about. Please come forward to the microphone, state your name and address, please.
Sanford Smith, 18 North Lancaster Avenue. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a seasonal resident. I understand there is a meeting to be held. I think I'm getting my own feedback, so I'm going to push this back a little. I understand there is a meeting to be held this weekend on Saturday morning to address the subject of the dunes. For religious reasons, I cannot attend, and with your indulgence, I'd like to speak on the subject at this time.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. I've heard people discuss over the time I've been here for 3 months now. People talk about their home values. They talk about their views. And I don't mean to sound flippant as I say the following. I have a home here. I had a home in Pennsylvania previously. I live in Florida with my grandchildren. That's why I'm not in Margate full-time. Priorities. My priorities are my family. Having said that, my deed does not state, other than the sight lines, the coordinates, I defer to those who know more about the language, but there is nowhere in which it is stated that I have certain visible effects, such as an ocean, such as to see sailboats going by, to hear speedboats. That is not in the deed, so that is not a legally granted effect of home ownership. Having said that, I wrote myself a few notes, which I'd like to go through. It's my understanding that there could be certain state as well as federal grants for which this city would be eligible, should they do certain types of storm mitigation. And once again, I'm a former physician. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a surveyor. So if I have the wrong terminology, please forgive me and maybe indulge me. But having said that, if we were to, we, the community, all of the community, because for this issue, we are one. And therefore, there could be significant cost encumbrances by negative cash flow through grants not received from state and federal sources. Please consider that. In addition, there is something that all of us may be subject to. Namely, we all have homeowners insurance. Forget flood insurance for the moment. But in the past, I recall in the 20 years that I've been a taxpayer in this city, that every year there is a notice with the annual tax bill that states that Margate receives the lowest possible property tax ratings based on their due diligence, based on their working to do storm mitigation, to prevent untoward effects as best as humanly possible. What would the effect be should the city fight, as remote as it sounds, remotely fight the Dunes project? Would every homeowner suffer and sustain increased property insurance? It's a question. Once again, I'm posing questions that I would hope would have due diligence by people who are more knowledgeable on the subjects than I. Because it's my understanding that at least 2 private law firms, as well as the city solicitor, have opined that there is a low probability of success in winning a suit blocking the dunes. Yet it's my understanding, having read the Down Beach Current, that there are those that would like to get additional legal opinions. I don't know if this is translated in keep asking the question anew until you get the right answer. I hope that's not the issue, but it certainly sounds suspicious. An ultimate question will be, if you would ultimately get an opinion that some vocal folk, and I have nothing against these folks, if some vocal folks were to prevail and get a law firm to give the opinion that is, quote, desired by this vocal group, who is going to pay? Who is going to pay for this fight? I've read, once again, in the Down Beach Current, where the numbers are staggering. I believe, and once again, I'm blocking on the total memory of it, somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million. That's a heck of a lot of money for, 3,000 homeowners. That's going to be, I live in a gated community in Florida, and that we call that an assessment. I think people are going to be very upset with that.
15 seconds, sir.
Okay. I have 3 comments, if I
Go ahead.
I'm told that beachfront homes in Ventnor have not sustained untoward visual effects. The maintenance and the cost of the dunes may, and this I defer to those more knowledgeable, but the maintenance cost may be less than what would be lost by the assessment of fight and by the federal and state grants that could be lost. And in closing, the dunes affect all homeowners, but only a fraction of these homeowners are eligible to vote. And an even smaller number actually voted in the, quote, referendum. The dunes affect all taxpayers to the city, AKA homeowners. And please consider the health, welfare, and safety of all homeowners when you make your learned and considered decisions. Thank you very much for hearing me.
Thank you. Anyone else? Public comment?
Sewell, 22 West Drive. I hate to change the subject, Mayor. But you know, Mayor, if your buddy and your brother-in-law, Tommy Collins, ran True Value like you run the school board, he would be belly up and broke, because we're spending 2 to 3 times as much per pupil per year than the Ventnor School Board does. And now, the superintendent wants to skip ship, and your buddies on the school board, they want to do the old knee-jerk response and get another superintendent ASAP for a handful of kids. Handful of kids where we should be sending K through 3 or 4 to the Ventnor school system, where we would be saving taxpayers between $3 to $6 million each and every year going forward. Mayor, because you've appointed fiscally irresponsible people to the board, none of them uphold the same oath that you took not once, Mayor. Not once did you take this. Mayor, you're multitasking, and at your stage of the game, it's a dangerous occupation. Listen up real closely. You took a sworn oath.
I did.
You could have affirmed, but you instead drug a judge in and insisted on taking a sworn oath to the one true God of the Israelites. And you've committed perjury because you refuse to uphold the state constitution of New Jersey, because the state constitution of New Jersey very clearly states that education must be thorough and efficient. Education in Margate is neither thorough nor efficient. You know that. I know that.
15 seconds, Mr.
And therefore, Mayor, God forbid if there's a third term and you drag another judge in and you want to proceed to take a sworn oath rather than to affirm, I'm going to jump up and say, objection, Your Honor. The mayor is a felonious perjurer. Thank you, Mayor.
Anyone else?
John Sewell yields the floor to Steve Warner, 103 North Sumner Avenue. I read occasionally, and a thought that sticks in my mind is, I think it was Thomas Browning or something, said, if we could only see ourselves as others see us. Wasn't there a poem that he wrote, To a Louse? Remember that? Where the woman was in the church and she was all dressed up in her finery and everything, but unfortunately right in the middle of her back was this insect, and it kind of spoiled the whole effect. And it was like, well, if we could only see ourselves as others see us. So with that in mind, I was perusing the press today.
Here it comes.
And a Mr. Cavallaro Venter wrote a little poem in here, which I'd like to share with the commission. Anti-Doom rant, grossly incorrect. Regarding the August 8th story, Margate to fight state and Army Corps on Dune project in court, in which Commissioner Maury Blumberg asserts that the project to build dunes will bring cesspools to city beaches. Cesspools? Really? I respect any opinion aired on behalf of a passionate cause. However, when the information is grossly incorrect and slanted with bias, it's irritating. From where I sit, the only thing that constitutes a cesspool is a cesspool. Save the shock value for the unintelligent, okay? And that would not include me, all right? A cause is much better served when conveyed with dignified demeanor and accurate information, okay? And going forward, I would appreciate some accuracy with the facts, with what's going on here, okay? There's three ways to have an argument. You got facts, you have logic, and then you have personal assault or what have you. And I'm tired of the personal assault. I'm tired of the rants and the inaccuracies. I want some accuracy in this campaign or whatever, and I think the citizens deserve that. And did you get a chance to read the press today, Maury? No? Did you? No? I can give you the copy if you want to see it.
I think what I meant to say was mosquito-infested algae ponds. I didn't look up the definition of cesspools.
Well, apparently
What I meant to say was mosquito-infested, trash-littered algae ponds. Maybe that's what I meant to say.
Still, shock value, shock value. How about like Ebola, Ebola outbreak, or typhus, okay? Maybe a typhus outbreak.
Thank you, Steve.
Sharon Simon, 424 North Borough. Thank you, Steve Warner, for a wonderful segue into my public comment. I was thinking about this when I read the press today, but the fact that you brought it here and spoke it is just so beautiful to me. Okay, what this letter says, which incidentally I think is interesting, someone from Ventnor, he doesn't even live in Margate, so I don't know why he's getting all, yeah, that thing, over what's happening in Margate over Commissioner Blumberg. But he makes comments about passionate and grossly incorrect, slanted with bias, it's irritating, and save the shock value for the unintelligent. a cause much better served with dignified demeanor and accurate information? Absolutely. I speak to Mayor Becker and Commissioner Tawby on that front. Brenda Tawby, Commissioner Tawby, in the paper puts out a $500,000 legal cost. And in the meeting, now people are saying $500,000, $1 million. Are you a legal expert? How do you know that's going to happen? $200,000 was the number we got from 2 legal experts. 30 to 200,000. You might think you know it's more, but you haven't talked to any lawyers, and if you have, you should have brought them in and had them talk, because the lawyers we're talking to don't refute it. Anyway, it's not for you to do that. Also, resident John Sparta said at the meeting, and is in the current article, as saying he doesn't oppose having a referendum, but voters should be fully informed when they vote. I totally agree. It is incumbent upon the city would be you three, and you too, Scott, and you too, Richard, and okay, you too, Rosie, but are aware of the facts and the consequences. In the last referendum vote, people were ignorant. They voted against it because they didn't understand or get all the facts. Well, if they relied on the commission, that is true. However, because the commission did not do their job, we as MCQBP did. We did all the research. The information that's being brought up about that it's going to be costly, more costly than a fight is not true. That our insurance rates and flood rates are going to go up, that FEMA's not going to cover anything. We did all the work. We did all the investigation. And the answers to those are they're not true. Okay? So what I think is
15
sad,
seconds.
you say that no matter where anybody is.
Okay.
The sad thing to me is that you have turned this into an election thing. Not a November referendum, but a May election. This is about how did Mayor Becker and Brenda Tawby get reelected, and how do we try to destroy Commissioner Blumberg in the process. We are in this position of this biggest decision in Margate, and Mayor Becker and Commissioner Tawby are meeting during the day at her house with various people, proudly, openly. They're just talking about the election, folks, don't worry. It's not a violation of sunshine laws, because they're concerned more about them getting reelected. And this Maria DeCinio, who had a letter today, vicious letter against Commissioner Blumberg, had them before, a couple years ago during election time, and I met her, and I said, Maria, you write these letters, I never see you in the meeting. Well, Mayor Becker talks to me, and blah, 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 blah. This is evidence. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But in this thing, it says, finally, on his campaign website, Commissioner Blumberg stated, voters do not possess the necessary facts and figures and expertise to decide what's in the best interest of the city. It's true. That's why we elect you. We don't understand the whole budget. We don't understand how A affects B. We don't understand all the complications.
Wind it up, Sharon.
So, obviously, you don't feel you do either, because now you're putting it out to a referendum vote, again, because we don't know what to do. We need guidance. And as far as the feds pulling funding projects, and that's the scare tactic, I've talked to some federal officials. They're not happy with that. They're not happy that the city solicitor and Margate is putting out there that we have to do these dunes because the feds might cut some of our other projects. So I'm just letting you know there's going to be repercussions from the federal government.
Thank you,
Bye.
Mrs. Simon. Thank you. Anyone else? It's a motion to close public comment.
Make a motion that we close public comment.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Tawby?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
We will open public comment on resolutions. Rosie, why don't you read the resolutions that we've added, the topics that we've added?
Okay, so everybody can make
So right.
a comment. As a result of the executive session, there's going to be 2 resolutions that will be added tonight. It will be number 183, which will be awarding a professional services contract to Rob Andrews with Dilworth Paxson, and an amount not to exceed $20,000, and the term is through the end of the year. This does not include any possible litigation that would ensue. And the second resolution being added tonight is number 184 to T&M Associates from Toms River. This would be for coastal engineering consulting services, again, regarding the Dunes project. This would be not to exceed $3,000 through the end of the year.
Thank you, Ruth.
Sewell, 22 West Drive, on the 184, can you put that in plain English, Assistant City Clerk? What exactly are we getting for that money? Can we put it in plain English, Solicitor? Plain English?
Which one, John?
Number 184, Mayor.
I'll take it. They are a consulting firm to take a look at the sand dune project and the shore protection, and I think correctly come up with possible alternatives in an effort to maybe reduce or eliminate the sand dunes in Margate.
Would that include a master jetty, Solicitor?
I don't know yet. I haven't heard what the report is.
Well,
They haven't written
can
it
we
yet.
perhaps have them look into the Brigantine master jetty?
They are going to, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, they're going to look into alternatives. And I assume that would include jetties as well.
Master jetties, much like brigantines. Number 183, Mayor, $30,000 and we don't get...
20, John. Get your numbers right.
20, John. That adds a 2, 20.
20,000. 20,000.
Not more than 20,000.
Not more than 20,000. That even sounds better. Better, Mayor.
Good.
I always like to see a cap, Solicitor. We can't have uncapped expenditures like the whistleblower case, where we're north of $250,000 and it could have been settled for $300K from the get-go. It's going to end up costing us over $1 million, Solicitor. 183, for 20 grand, we're not getting one iota of litigation from this Mr. Andrews. I think he's doing better than when he was in Washington, or at least for the time he was there. Solicitor, in this age of electronic filing, don't you think that we could put an injunction in electronically with the federal district court in Camden for about 10 grand? And keep that ball in the air until the next administration? That's 2 questions, Solicitor. Take A and B. They're legitimate questions, Solicitor. Maybe the mayor can handle it.
Thank you, John.
No, Mayor, I haven't gotten an answer to my question.
I can give a very brief answer.
Let's get a brief answer on the record, Solicitor.
You just don't go into a judge and say, give us an injunction. It doesn't work that way.
Nobody ever said it did work that way.
Well, you have
But
to
for
have-
10 grand,
you
you
have to
can
have
get the ball
facts.
rolling quite nicely.
All I can tell you, John, is I think the 3 commissioners came to an agreement, a consensus. They're going to use Rob Andrews, former congressman, to intercede on behalf of Margate to advocate for our position. The 3 commissioners agreed.
Advocate on what level? In what
All
manner?
government levels.
All government levels? Well, would that include the judicial level in federal district court in Camden?
Yeah, not court.
Well, that's a level, judicial level of government.
Thank you, John. Your time.
And I think for 10 grand, we could get that ball rolling nicely.
Well, thank you.
I think you've been rather generous with Mr. Andrews, more than with his fellow congressmen.
Anyone else? Resolutions only.
I would like to know, Solicitor Abbott, you said to, and I'm happy with what you're doing, I'm not criticizing you in any way, to represent our position. What is our position? What is it that we're trying to do outside of court?
Okay. Right, we got,
You want me to answer?
after this public comment, you may answer this one.
They're going to consult the T&M Associates, and they're going to try to advocate on our position for a reduction of the sand dunes and what is perceived to be an adverse impact on Margate.
Wait,
Well, we don't know
Wait a
exactly.
minute. We've hired people to recommend to us what to do.
Okay.
This commission will hear what their recommendation is and then decide.
Okay.
It's very premature to say what, because if we knew what, we wouldn't need to
I
hire
agree.
them.
That's why I was asking what the position was. I didn't know that we had a position at this point. So I just wanted to find out.
We do not.
Okay, which makes sense. I'm glad to hear
The
that.
intent is to have a position that we all can support.
I
That's the
agree.
intent.
And-
And that's what we're working on.
And we're getting the expert opinion because you can't have a position or support a position either out of court or in court without an expert study. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go and try to say to people, we want a different solution if you don't have a coastal engineer saying it makes sense to have a different. And the only other thing is, what's the timing on this? Is the coastal engineer going to be providing a report soon, or we don't know?
What will be the timeframe? We did have a time.
Very soon,
Okay, good,
in a time period that's satisfactory to Mr. Andrews.
great. Thank you very much.
And certainly before the bulldozers are on the beach.
Well, they could be here tomorrow, so chop,
No,
chop,
no, no,
chop.
they can't be here tomorrow.
Do we know if any of the people with riparian rights have received letters from the state? They haven't, or we don't know?
We haven't,
Okay.
and we're the largest landowner, so
Okay.
I assume the other ones haven't, but we do not know.
Okay, because there is, from what I understand, a 30-day time period from the time, and you're shaking your head, by the time you get a letter, an offer, before they can do anything, before they can start the condemnation process. That's what I was told by a lawyer today, but, okay, thank you. Good
Thank you.
news.
Anyone
Thank
else?
you, I appreciate you all voting on it, whatever your reasons were, even if it's to get re-elected in May.
Anyone else on comment? Motion to close public comment.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Tawby?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Rosie?
All right, Resolution 180 is to authorize payment of claims and payroll with the addition of the asphalt paving systems bill included in that amount.
I'll make a motion that we...
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Tawby?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
181 is to approve parking regulations for the Fun Fest weekend.
Make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Tawby?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
And 182 is authorizing the appointment of Perry Coker as an SLEO Class 2.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Tawby?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
And as I said before, we're adding number 183, which is awarding the professional services contract to Rob Andrews in an amount not to exceed $20,000 for the term through December 31st of this year.
I'll make that motion.
Second, please.
I'll second it. Rosie, can you just mention the name of the firm?
Dilworth Paxson.
Thank you. I'll second that.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Tawby?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
And number 184 is awarding a professional services contract to T&M Associates from Toms River to provide coastal engineering consulting services in an amount not to exceed $3,000.
I'll make that
I'll
motion.
second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Tawby?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
And that's everything.
Thank you, Rosie. Is there a motion to adjourn the
I'll
meeting?
make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Tawby?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.